2017 was this time where the song came out, right? I think it was called Green Light.
Yeah. Correct.
This green light led into what is now one of my favorite albums of all time. Melodrama by Lorde. This album has apparently stood this
album has stood the test of the time.
Wait, has this album stood the test of time?
I don't know, we'll see today.
There's someone here.
Fuck! Recently with Solar Power, people were like, whoa, what's going on here? I wanted Melodrama too. What's going on? And I can see why people are like that, because Melodrama is phenomenal. It's a gorgeous album, I think. So we're gonna listen to it right here, right?
Right.
Yes.
What are your experiences with this album?
There are a few select songs on this album
We should probably
that make me cry every single time I hear it.
I'm really sorry.
So I'm on the side of that it 100% does stand the test of time.
It's a pretty good album. I'd say I know like 4 songs, give or take.
This album cover is one of my favorite of all times. If you knew, our knew the guy who painted this.
What?
Oh my gosh, what?
This is so fucking gorgeous. It's one of the I don't even like albums unless the cover is good. You know what I mean?
I agree. It sets the tone.
It sets the tone. And I feel like this back it up. And I feel like this album, just the colors and everything represent the songs perfectly.
It really encapsulates the vibe. It's so cold,
It's definitely.
but then she's warm.
So right now we're gonna have a bit of a retrospective on this album and see if it holds the test of time. Starting with the first track, Green Light. Do you remember the first time you heard this track?
Yes.
I was in the car.
I was watching New Girl.
My mom was driving me home from school, and it was wild.
Wild.
It was electric. I would say that's the vibe.
That is a good word. I remember hearing it the first time. I saw it and I was like, wait, this was the Royals girl. And I was like, huh, this is interesting. This is a lot more.
Oh, you weren't into Pure Heroine when it...
I was 12.
I remember Pure Heroine.
Yeah.
But
I remember.
You were 13.
I bought it with my iTunes gift card.
You were 13, so.
I liked what she was doing. I really did. Green Light sounded really different. And I was like, okay. I listened to it once. I was like, okay. Something happened the third time I listened to it. And everything just clicked. Let's start to play it.
But I didn't tell my story yet. So I have 2 different associations with this song. The first is this a cappella group at my school sings it, and I just didn't even recognize it. The first time I really heard it, I was watching New Girl, and here's a spoiler, so if you haven't finished it yet, you know. Spoiler! And so Jess and Nick are running toward each other because they just found out they love each other, and that song is playing. So now when I hear it, I think about...
Song.
Oh no.
It's like...
I don't think the producers thought about that. It's when they get together and then they like end up finding each other in the elevator and they kiss very passionately.
Aww.
And it's on my serotonin playlist. So
Track 1, Green Light.
Should we all scream it? Every single song?
Let's begin. What does that mean? She does her makeup in somebody else's car. What does that symbolize?
She in a taxi?
What does that symbolize? Are they different?
They're together, but they're not.
I wonder what she drinks.
What do you think they did?
I bet she
She's such
drinks
a
whiskey.
damn liar, I bet.
She's such a damn liar.
How did I predict that?
How the fuck did she know? How subtly this album starts, but like the piano is powerful, you know? You know it's not Pure Heroine.
No.
Also, isn't this song in A flat major, which is like
Be seeing you ever I go. I'm waiting for it, that green light. 'Cause on the come get my
You didn't hear any kind of drums like that before on a song with Lorde. Boom, 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 boom. I remember her in this music video. She's got hair like this. It's good. She's going around.
She's hot.
Oh, it's A major. It's not A flat major. It's A major.
I have no idea what it means. What is the green light? What is the green light? Is it Gatsby?
Is it like
I thought it was Gatsby, but what I think it is, we'll see it after.
Okay. This was the point I knew.
Yeah.
For me.
Totally different vibe.
What I said earlier with like the third time where it clicked, this is where it clicked.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like the peak.
What does the green light mean? Gatsby.
Would
Daisy.
be Gatsby and Daisy. Well, I think it is.
Fuck Daisy.
I think she's waiting for like the green light to move on from this relationship, from this person, because she's like, I'll see you wherever I go. You'll always be with me. Like whoever you're with, your relationships that you're with changes a part of you, and you carry that for the rest of your life. But it's like she's not ready to move on, but she's waiting for the moment where she can. She's waiting for the green light. But also, I don't know.
That's really good. Since I only associated the song at first with New Girl and them getting together, I kind of was like, oh, green light? Maybe it's like that game that you play in like elementary school. It's like red light, green light.
Stop and go.
Yeah, where like where you like put your hand on their thigh and you can't move
That
it.
one. Oh my god.
That song is still explosive. Boom! Hits you. You know you're in for some different shit.
Pow!
And she is there's like a different side of her emotions here, because on Pure Heroine she kind of seemed in control at most points. Like that's what was appealing, that she was a 16-year-old that kind of like really knew her shit.
So
seemingly
mature.
And here she is still like at a mature state, but like we see her completely different. She's being more vulnerable, but she's like not like, you know, trying to make you feel bad about it. She's like warping it into something positive or something productive, maybe. Next track, Sober. I love this song. Underrated. It's goofy. It goes like. Did she release this as a single like a day or two before the album came out?
I honestly don't remember. If I thought of anything, I thought it would be green light.
It was a single, yeah. I feel like I remember hearing this song about a day or two before it came out, the album, and this was honestly the one that really got me excited, specifically like when the trumpets came in.
The trumpets.
Because I knew, for some reason, like these sounds I didn't hear arranged in this way before, and it was so exciting. Right here.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere. It's like, boom!
This gives me Father John Misty vibes.
I'm not familiar with the band's catalog, but I'ma believe you. It's the dancing.
Should I stop?
No, you can dance. You love looking at yourself. I'm not trying to dig it. This is like, you've started the party, and it's like,
This is the party.
It's not a radio kind of song. Like, it's not for your, like, everyone. This isn't for your normies. You gotta be quirky to like Sober.
the drums, bruh. It's so different from Pure Heroine.
I feel like this sounds like she had a lot of fun in production. Like, they just kind of like whipped out random things. For like, yo, let's throw that in there. It's like kind of like a jam.
Yeah.
The production, yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. This was the first project I really heard from Jack Antonoff front and back. You know, the guy who made it?
Yeah. He also produced a lot of Taylor Swift.
Right. Did he do that
There's
before or
some
after?
beef. After.
After,
He did
yeah.
Folklore Evermore with her.
Right.
I honestly don't know if he worked with her before, but he did all of Folklore and Evermore with her.
This project doesn't sound like anything he's really done before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What do you think about the production
So
as a music person?
that was my first time ever hearing this song. What I'm noticing from all the songs that I know from this album is that, like, there's a really good theme going on. Like, he kind of, I guess the producer has, like, who is it?
Jack Antonoff, he was in Fun.
Yeah, I don't. It's always nice when an album comes out these days where you can hear, like, a good theme coming along through the album. Like, there's something being threaded through. And this does sound cohesive. Yeah, especially for Lorde, she's always kind of cohesive, but this is a different kind. Like, I kind of feel like Pure Heroine and Solar Power are both, like, very relaxed. So this is a really different kind of beat for her. And it's not really, like, it's leaning kind of towards R&B, but also still, like, almost a little, like, city. I don't even really know. It's really cool, though. The theme is working for the album because I think she clearly had, like, an emotional theme as well. And you can kind of hear it through that. It is, like, abrupt and, like, kind of unsettling, but in, like, a good way. Like, you're definitely jarred when you hear it. Like, that was my first time hearing it, and I was like...
And
I couldn't find my...
good word for that.
Can't find my footing, but in the best way. So I know how she feels.
I agree. That's a good song with not finding your footing, because it is her, like, just like, let's get fucked up.
Yeah.
But she's like, what the fuck's going on when we're sober? That's that kind of woke Lorde that's back, where she's like aware of what's gonna happen. She's already thinking ahead.
It sounds like the beginning of a party.
She does continue.
She continues it Sober 2 Melodrama later.
Next track, Homemade Dynamite, my mother's favorite song.
That's so cute.
With Nowhere to Be. I gotta take this coat off. I'm getting hot. Keep playing.
Aim is me.
behave abnormally.
You my best life, show you my best life, yeah. Awesome night with homie.
We both had this shit up. What are your thoughts on the remix?
I enjoy the remix, but I like the original more. I like SZA's part, but
See me rolling, showing someone else love, hands under your t-shirt.
That line is hot.
that is really
That is
sexy.
hot. I like it. She's definitely like controlled a little more at this point. Like sober, she's like you said, like footing is off.
It's like a stable beat.
This feels like sophomore year of college when you like kind of know what you're doing when you're partying and you're like a little overconfident.
Yeah.
What is that noise? What do you think that is?
It's a little pan flute keyboard.
If there was any song that could have been the hit, I think it would have been this one.
I agree. When I first listened to it, like the album once, Homie Dynamite was immediately my favorite. As I listen to it more and different things happen in my life, different songs on this album become my favorite because they're more applicable, obviously. Fun fact about this song, my little sister is really bad at understanding lyrics, and she thought that the lyrics said to table knife. So every time she sings this song, she sings it table knife.
Bro, it's in the title.
Yeah, I know. She's dyslexic.
That's funny.
I liked it. It was cool. I don't know which is my favorite on the album so far.
Did you like this more than the other ones?
I think I liked this more than Sober.
I
But I really liked Sober. I think it was cool that, well, such a classic Lorde thing is having like the 2 octaves at the same time. She just sings both. And I feel like that's something that I'm realizing is really consistent throughout these.
Queen shit.
We also see her here in the chorus go like upper register. Which, did she do much on Pure Heroine? No.
She's always
Pure Heroine, I know.
Yeah, she's exploring this whole new like side to her voice.
her range has grown.
Right, and we have such an exciting start to this album that's like, we have such momentum now, which we just have a bit of a cool down at this point, which is the Louvre, also known as the wedding song.
Oh,
Literally.
I know this one.
This is the
Because of-
sweetest song. This also, I would say, is the only song that she looks back positively on this relationship completely in this song. Where I feel like other songs, it's like somewhat positive and then negative.
Is this
like
all
bitter.
kind of about
But this is all a great relationship.
A relationship, it's like a breakup album.
Such a good way to describe like being so infatuated with somebody. Like I don't know how she words things the way she does. Me too, Lord. I feel like the beat in the back is almost like a heartbeat. I don't know that at
I do
all.
like that. Can you hear the violence? What does that mean?
In my little head.
Boom, 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 boom.
Sorry, keep
Make them
moving.
all dance to it.
I hate that part. I'm sorry.
This line.
Come through, blow all my friendships to sit in hell with you. They'll hang us in the Louvre, down the back, but who cares? Still the Louvre.
That's so
Okay,
Fire.
nothing wrong with us, natural.
Broadcast the boom, 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 and make them all dance to it.
Yeah, she doesn't like that.
Elaborate on why you don't like that part.
Broadcast the boom, boom.
It's just like cringy as fuck. It's my least favorite on the album.
This song's your least favorite song in the album?
No, that
Yeah.
one part. Oh,
No,
the song?
Oh, song. It's like, okay.
You might have to like
I'm gonna have to go.
get out of the car. Get out of the
I
car.
might have to go.
Wait, we gotta let it
The
fade.
transition.
It's very
It's the
important.
perfect way to end it. This part reminds me of what's the song? It's like
Cranberries.
yeah. I feel like it's in the same key.
Oh,
I
that's
feel like you could
fire.
honestly you could like remix. I don't know.
Those
what's it
two
called?
songs, it's such a good outro.
Yeah.
Explain your thoughts and don't be worried.
I mean, I think the lyrics were good. This was my least favorite song. I think it doesn't like,
I just threw up in my mouth.
it just like starts off more exciting than it ends. Which maybe is like supposed to be like part of the storyline or something. That's probably supposed to happen, but like it just, I don't know. I think that the actual song doesn't fit together well. I think that it's weird. And I think the boom, 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 I think it's stupid. And I can't get over it. And like the rest of the song is fine. If it wasn't for that part, it's like, I don't know. That's how I remembered it. And I remembered not liking it because of that. And it just, sorry, it just makes me cringe.
Let's debate.
That is so interesting. I completely disagree. I think that ending is super like, this is an ending that I feel like is not seen often from Lorde, where a lot of her endings are like, I don't know, like uneasy, or they fade out, or they just like abruptly stop, or they're like angry or frustrated, and this one's like a very mellow, like it forces you to sit and listen to the outro for like an extra like 15-20 seconds and just like ponder on what it was. And it's just like, I feel like it's reminiscent of like you're just happy and you're in a relationship and you're just.
But there's like another song on that album that has like the same exact outro.
Is it Supercut?
Yeah, it's Supercut. It's like the same. It's just like getting quiet, and I think Supercut does it better. Like this one.
Let's talk about that when we get to there. Let's talk about that when we get to there.
Sorry.
I think this song is definitely her very like, you know, quirky personality with love. You know, it's distinctly her, and she's like making jokes about it because kind of feels like she is like kind of uncomfortable or a little like uncomfortable with like being in love, and she's like making jokes about it to make her feel a little more comfortable. Like she's like,
it's not that vulnerable often about like the good sides.
Right. She's like, you're not my type, you know, this is kind of weird. I'm like throwing everything away from you. She's making jokes about the Louvre. We're still not the best, shit like that. It's cute. It's adorable for that, in my opinion, because it is distinctly her.
Is Lorde Libra?
She's November birthday. She's right before me.
Oh, is she a Scorpio?
I think so, yeah. We do
Right
not.
for me too.
Yeah, we do not have compatible signs. Very sad.
I think there are some really good lines in there that just like stuck with me.
Yeah, she's
like
a
I pointed it
Scorpio.
out, like all my friendships to sit in hell with you. She's a Scorpio?
Yeah.
Next track is I think the best Lorde song of all time.
Oh, I kind of know this
That's a
one.
bold statement. I've cried many a time to this song.
Baby really hurt me, crying in the taxi. She don't wanna know me. She's so hard to please, but she's a forest fire. Is one girl swaying alone,
So we all thought she was a
stroking a cheek. They say
She's a lesbian.
you're a little
gay?
much
That'd be fire.
Liability, get you wild, make you leave. I am a toy that people enjoy till all of the tricks don't work anymore. I know that it's exciting, running through the night. Every perfect sum, they're gonna watch me disappear into the sun.
And we got solar
You're
power?
all gonna
Is that an Easter egg?
Foreshadowing? Question mark?
So I think that's the best Lorde song because it doesn't get anything wrong at any point. It's the perfect length. Every word is there necessary for a reason. In high school, we had this thing in AP English with Mr. Where we started to bring in song lyrics and analyze them as poems. And I recommended this song, and it was one of the only ones that he gave an A. Everything else was like a C or a B.
Did he ever do that with us, Mo?
No, it was for our class.
Defo
So like,
not.
so like people would bring in certain songs and you'd be like, yeah, this is fine, this is cool. And the one day I wasn't there because I had pink eye from eating too much ass. There was he did that song, and like each week before it, he was giving them B's, C's, and it was the only one all semester that he gave an A.
Wow.
It feels very calculated what it does, and I feel like it is universally relatable in any way.
I agree with that. Midway through the song, when it's like, I am a toy that people enjoy, the pianos and like the harmonies, like it wasn't like super loud before, but from going from what it was and then just dropping a little, like makes my heart like drops a little bit there. It's like, it just hits. This whole song just hits. It's
What are your
sad.
thoughts?
I don't want to say
No,
it.
you can say stuff. You can say how you feel. It's fine.
I thought that okay, like she's really vulnerable, and you can tell it's super stripped down. It's like she's stripping down, and also so is the music. It's literally just like piano.
That's a good, I like that.
I didn't like it still. Sorry, like it was fine. I felt like it was pretty plain, and maybe I have to like listen to it more and really like. It's not like I could relate with it, but like there's a lot of songs I relate with, and I feel like this one is not something that would resonate with me so much where I'd be like, yeah, let me listen to that again. I feel like I'd listen to it and be like, okay, like yeah, sure, that's like something we go through. Like skip. Like I don't know. Maybe
I see where you're coming from.
it's not my favorite Lorde song, and I think it's musically not interesting at all. I know that's kind of mean, but it's just like the most basic chords. Like it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I know that that's also how she wants it because it's her emotion. Yeah, it's like very raw. I feel like she probably sat down and that one was hard for her to write. I just didn't care for it.
How would you compare that to like one of your favorite Lorde songs then? Name me one of your favorite Lorde songs and name me what that does compared to this.
Well, okay, my favorite Lorde song is probably Supercut.
We'll get to that. What about something on Pure Heroine?
I feel like Royals isn't not my favorite song, but it's something that's also kind of like, they're both pretty stripped down and very basic musically, so I would compare them musically, but Royal's just something that's pretty different. Like, it's stripped down and basic, but it's still interesting to listen to, and musically something we haven't heard before. When this, it's like, okay, every artist has their own little piano ballad, like, sure, it's just kind of like, but Royals was something different, and it was stripped down, but it was still interesting. I feel like this, it just lacked any interest factor to me. I've said the same words like 14 times.
You're fine. Do you have a retort?
I feel like, I guess, coming from a perspective of not really like knowing Lorde like intensely, I feel like it takes, like how Kevin said in the beginning, he had to listen to it 3 times as a non-Lorde listener to really get into Greenlight. I feel like if you really listen through this entire album, which this album is one of the few albums that I feel like listening through it in order how you're supposed to listen to it is, it just flows so well. It's like immaculate.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that.
Yeah,
and like lyrically,
but I just think if you listen to it more, I honestly think you would relate to it more.
I probably would.
It hits when you're alone in the car driving at
yeah,
night
this
at
might
like
have been the
2
wrong setting for
a.m.
me.
and you cry. Yeah.
You definitely have to be alone for it, and it's very
Yeah.
You have to put in perspective too that she wrote this like 19.
Yeah.
And being so like introspective and like mentally mature to be able to like do this and like not waste time with it, because it doesn't seem like petty or pitiful as in like a feel bad for me way.
It's just it's putting into words an emotion that so many people feel these emotions, and she just puts it so well and so plainly. And I can agree with Kevin how it applies in so many situations to every single person.
I do agree. I think the lyrics are super mature.
It just sucks sometimes when somebody says you're too much for them and then they just stop seeing you.
It does.
Also, I'd like to point out a mistake I made. I'm not trying to compare like Royals and this song's like meaning, and obviously they're gonna have like different backings and like production and instrumentals and everything because they have 2 very different vibes, but like just for like an interest.
Yeah, I see what you meant. I like your perspective. I think it's valuable to have like a music major's perspective of all this.
Oh my gosh.
And also somebody who
Barely.
like who isn't like an avid Lorde listener, because like I know I'm for sure biased to like everything.
Yeah.
So
You're
like
right.
a fresh set
I don't
ears.
think it's bad. Like, I just think I think she's really talented, and this is like not my favorite of hers, but like it's still good.
Right.
This next song is my favorite Lorde song of all time, and it is the best bridge of almost any song ever made ever.
I'm excited.
It makes me tear up and it makes my like brain itch and my spine shiver. Like I get like a physical response to this song.
It definitely, some days this teeters back and forth for my favorite. I feel like
Okay,
there's a
good.
difference between best and favorite, but something happens with this song.
Yeah.
Let's play it. Hard Feelings, Loveless.
I
I've
think
never
Val's
heard
gonna
this.
like Loveless.
I hope I will.
Let's give it a minute before we admit that we're through.
Are you kidding?
'Cause I remember the part.
That's my favorite line.
This, oh my god,
I light all the candle.
This line.
kills me.
I care for myself the way I
literally
used to care about you. The waves come after midnight. I call from underwater. Why even try to get right when you've outgrown a lover? The whole world knows but you.
Lorde back here.
These are what they call feet first, only first, right?
No, you have to be prepared.
This is one of the best. I'm not even gonna say nothing.
I'm literally gonna cry.
Years left you every single day. Me, still I'm so far away from you, yeah.
Oh, it's not done. Sounds so industrial. That sounds like Phil Collins.
And everyone says that.
So bitter.
Yeah, I definitely think this is like the highlight of the album. It's such like a, not like the peak, but it is such a peak, especially that ending of Hard Feelings. I feel like Hard Feelings on its own makes the song, but Loveless is just just something that you need to contrast. And it's such a dirty transition into something so different. Hard Feelings goes over like all these complicated feelings and like puts that into music, how it's like kind of like crying out the music. It's like the best way of taking emotions and turning it into something sonically.
It is so beautiful. The lyrics that she chooses, and I agree, the whole instrumental part where it's like metally, like metallic, like grinding.
So industrial.
Like, it fully embodies the feeling of like how empty you feel after dedicating 3 years of your life to somebody and then sitting with them and realizing that your relationship is like has no sustenance anymore. Like she said, it's a ghost. Like, knowing it's super painful when you're with somebody and you know that you're with them physically, but like they're not in it anymore. It's like heartbreaking. She just encapsulates that so perfectly. And then just the bridge, I think, speaks for itself. Like, are you kidding me? But one thing I would say throughout this entire song that she uses so well is volume, and how she knows how to use silence perfectly. Like the drop of pure silence and then the build to the whole instrumental, it's like explosive. Like, it literally gives me shivers. Just the volume.
When I first heard it, the bridge definitely stopped me in my tracks, and you just had to listen.
That was probably my favorite so far in this album.
Yay.
It was super cool, and I think that like I was kind of thinking about the juxtaposition between like the lyrics and the actual sound of the song, because I'm like, it sounds so euphoric and it's like in a major key and everything, but then Julia's saying like it sounds empty too, and it does.
Yeah.
But also you can tell it's like she's feeling like kind of complex because there's so many layers to the production. Like, I need to listen to this intoxicated because I just know that I would like hear different things. I don't know, it's like one of those things where you really need to like relax your brain kind of, and then you'll hear more.
100%.
I don't know, it hit me a lot, and also it was so different from the last track. What was it? Liability?
Yeah.
It was so different from Liability, and even though I guess they sort of had like similar undertones with like the breakup and everything, but like super different. And also Loveless was so different from the first part. What was it?
Hard Feelings.
Hard Feelings. Like the three pieces, I feel like those were like movements in a piece. They were all just so different.
Yes, I agree.
And I thought it was
every time
really
I listen
cool.
to it, you hear more things.
Yeah, that's like the
that
best
never
kind of
stops
song.
giving.
We could talk about the song all day.
Yeah,
we really could. It's I just want to know how they made it. I want to know how it was conceptualized. I need to see a little documentary video on this.
Yeah,
really
this would be
that.
a great one for that.
Next track, I think it's Sober 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
Melodrama, Sober 2 Mel.
Parentheses Melodrama.
Asked if I was feeling it. We told you this was melodrama. As the evening passes, cleaning up the champagne glasses.
It's so spooky.
I like when she gets scary.
It's uneasy. I
Yeah.
love scary. The bass in this one is surprisingly amazing.
Yeah, why is this good?
Don't talk about us, other lovers, how we kiss and
So different.
Yeah.
Originally, when I listened to this, the trap stuff threw me off, but ever since it's been like, it's always built on me because it's just so different from everything we got from
She's
before.
never.
It was good. That's like the trap stuff is what like got me. Like it was good either way, but then I was like, whoa.
I agree. That's like the best, not the best part of the song, but like
I think it is.
Yeah, honestly,
I think
it's like the
part.
peak.
She does.
It builds to that.
She does sound good over it. She does fit
Yeah.
on it.
Her high notes,
the
like her higher
breathy,
voice, it's really
Higher register, yeah.
This song's cool. I definitely think it's for me, probably my least favorite on the album, but I don't think it's bad. But it's just really quick.
Yeah,
As in, like it
pretty
does.
short.
It feels like an interlude.
Yeah, almost
Yeah,
it does.
100% right.
But this is her being sober after. Like this is what she was worrying about on Sober, pretty
This
much.
is the after party. She wakes
Yeah.
up the next morning.
It feels like a Sunday morning when it's raining and you're like, what
you.
happened?
Thank you.
This is just, this reminds me, it's like so high school. She's like the fucking like melodrama. Like it's so ridiculous. Like, why do we bother doing anything? Like, you guys are gonna do the same thing next week. Like it's like she's stuck in the cycle of like partying and then wanting to mature and like grow out of it, and then she does the same thing like next Friday and Saturday, and it's just sober to melodrama, sober to melodrama every week.
And she's so frustrated.
Wow.
It's frustrating. Yeah.
You guys like have this down. You guys know this album.
We love this. I have 4 copies of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
this next song is actually
It's like
probably
this
my
and-
favorite on the album.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
The next song.
Love that. I agree.
Sex with me.
But I do want to say that, like, to go back to like a scary thing, I think Lorde can and really should explore being scary, because like on Fallen Fruit, that shit gets scary.
terrifying.
It's terrifying.
She's a little
Terrifying.
She's a little horrifying.
She is, and I
Does in Pure Heroine a little bit.
Yeah.
She's pretty spooky in some things.
my wish list for Lorde 4 would be would be going into an album that really does explore like darker stuff and really try to scare you in some way, which she does kind of do in Pure Heroine, because she's
Yeah.
talking about just like these harrowing things, and the album cover looks scary and everything.
Yeah.
But I really want her to dive like not back into that sound, but like evolve that sound, do what like
Yeah,
she was
like
doing on
grow
Fallen Fruit.
100%.
And I feel like this song can do that too.
Sex with Me is great.
This next song I heard in a Barnes & Noble one time, and it felt like an assault. Yeah,
This was in Barnes & Noble?
not Sex with Me.
Break the news, you're walking out unhated, hearing my name on the lips of a crowd. Did my
fucked
best
up.
to exist
So
just
fucked
for. Bet you rue the
Ready for
day you kissed a
psychopathic?
rider. Now she's gonna play and sing and lock you in her heart. I am my mother's child. I love you till my breathing stops. When you see me, will you say I've changed? Now she's gonna play and sing and lock you in her heart. I love you till you call the cops on me. My mother's child, I love you till my breathing stops.
I think this is like the darkest point on the album for her. This is a deep cut from her. I know people love this song. I know people who don't even know the song exists. But it really is like where she was going. She's like kind of broken at this point. You can hear it in her voice. It really doesn't sound like her. Like she's
It's like
definitely.
No, it
almost,
doesn't.
I don't want to say shrill because it has like negative connotations, but like it's like almost like shrill. She's like high up there and her voice is like a little bit
It's
unsteady.
uneasy,
Yeah.
yeah.
It almost makes me smile like how psycho she is on this though.
Yeah,
And
like, I feel like I
love
could-
to see those like psycho emotions, because I'm sure everybody has felt like so strongly about like, I don't know, like idealizing someone in the past and like wanting them back, and you're like,
Also, you can like picture her smiling and crying while she's singing that.
Yeah, it's the most similar to Liability, I would say, on the album, because it is kind of a piano ballad too.
I think it's so much better than Liability. I thought it was a lot better.
I think the strings have like more emotion in this song.
I agree.
I
And
know
it's
you heard that at the end.
it's still super simple,
Yeah.
but like I think it was done better, and it felt like it took longer for them to make. It didn't feel rushed or anything. Where I feel like Liability felt a little rushed. I know you guys disagree.
It's
but-
fine. I think too, like the first line she starts it with, how like hated hearing my name's on the lips of the crowd, and she did my best to exist for you. It's fucked, because you hear that type of shit, you would want this person to be supported for being like this young girl who kind of is doing her thing and being great with it.
That's
who
twisted.
was this about?
I don't know.
Does anybody know?
They're on my hip. I saw this like TikTok, and it was like comparing this person like breaking down the song, and he was like saying that this was when she was friends. Sorry to bring Taylor Swift into this again. She was friends with Taylor Swift at this time, and this was when like a bunch of like everybody in like the music industry and like all the fans were like, oh, don't date Taylor Swift, like she's psycho, she's gonna write a song about you, you're fucking like, she's psychotic, like don't date her. And she was
Like,
friends
right
with
before
her. So I feel like
Reputation.
he was like, and I agree with this is almost like a reference to like that kind of thing, and how like she's not like
It's like
psychopathic,
she's like
but
making fun of
she's like poking fun at like the
people who are like
stereotype that has like Taylor Swift has.
like crazy, like your crazy ex. Like,
Yeah,
crazy,
like-
I kind of can see that. Yeah, I sense it.
I was like, I never would have thought of that myself, but then somebody else said it, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it feels like it feels satirical in a way, but like also that she like you can tell she kind of feels it, but like it's not. She's like, it's ironic.
Next track, Supercut.
In my head,
Some of people's favorite songs.
but when I reach for you, the it's just a supercut in your car, the radio up. We keep trying to talk about us, but it's just a supercut of us. Supercut of us. Oh, it's just a supercut of us. 'Cause in my head, I do everything right.
This is the best part.
In your car, the radio up. In your car, the radio up. We keep trying to talk about be a quiet afternoon crush, be a violent overnight rush, but it's just a supercut of us.
You gotta be driving at night to this.
Yeah, especially the
Oh,
outro.
it's just a supercut of us. When you call, I forgive and not fight. When I'm fluorescent, come home to my heart. When you call, I forgive. When you call, I forgive and not. Everything right.
Fire line.
This is like the best outro I've ever heard of any song.
Shakes the fucking
It's
car.
like it's in her head, like it's like so
Yes.
buried.
I definitely think it's one of my favorite Lorde songs. And it's her right after being so vulnerable and weak on Rider in the Dark. Or not like weak as in she's not mentally all like in control. And this is her like kind of still being vulnerable, but like almost like a euphoria after that, where she's thinking about like she let all these negative emotions come out, that she's thinking about like all the good times and everything. And it's all, the sound just like encapsulates like how she's feeling. It is great.
Yeah, there's so many like layers and little like counter melodies going on in this song, and it just like, it's so interesting to listen to. It just like, you can listen to it so many times and focus on a different part every time you listen, like a different, I don't know, like vocal line, because there's so many things going on at once, and it just feels like,
Yeah.
it feels like you're in her head, and it's
I
like,
do like the in the head perspective, and I totally see that in the outro.
yeah, it's like,
I
because
like
it's
that
like
you
in my
pointed
head
that
I do
out.
everything right, and then it's just like everything
Yeah.
sounds like it's in her head, and like you can't really, it's like distorted and drowning. 10 out of 10 bop.
But yeah, this song is relatable, is good. It's a banger. It's a bit of a banger. It's a bit of a driving at night type beat.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a bit of a bop.
Next track is Liability Reprise.
Did you say reprise or, well, I guess you say reprise. I don't know if it's reprise or reprieve.
I'm a liability, much for me. You're a little much
I'm
for
curious to see if
me.
you like this more than act like Liability.
I am too. I already
You
do.
will. I knew you would.
And all of the shit that we harbor. And maybe all this is the part. Maybe we just do it finally. But you're not what you thought you were. But you're not what you were.
I did like this one more than the first Liability. It felt like there were some parts where when it was just her singing and like kind of a cappella, she sounded like a little bit like unstable, which I'm sure was on purpose. Like her pitch was wobbly, and it sounded like a record that's really old and warped a little bit. And it's like she's been through the ringer. I think I'm reading way too far into
No,
it.
she has been through the ringer.
She's
You're
been
100% right in that.
Girl's been through the ringer.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
She kind of feels at most that she's like resolving a lot of emotions that she's gone through at this song, but she's still like vulnerable and weak from them, but she's coming to terms with it in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, she calls back to what she felt like before the liability thing. And interestingly enough, this is the first time I really like heard right at the end that she says like leave super quietly. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
Like right,
she's
right at the end, she's
Gone
like,
over.
How did I miss that?
I mean, I missed it for the past 4 years.
Oh.
I didn't hear it
Well,
until
I'm
now.
fine then.
I think she's just like, this is all, like what you said, it's like retrospective on all the feelings that she's like felt, and she's just looking back at it from like, I think more distance.
Yeah.
When she was Liability, she was like right in the middle of like the storm, like when it was all happening, but this was like some time has passed and she's looking back at it. I also think when I heard this the first time, I was like, I feel like this is like a personal song directed specifically just to her ex-boyfriend, and I like probably shouldn't be hearing this right now because it's a little bit
it feels
personal.
intimate.
And she's just calling him out. She's like, you're not who you thought you were. You're a piece of shit. Leave. Like, I don't need you in my life.
Yeah, she definitely seems more sour than she did earlier. She like sees more faults in him.
Yeah. She also says violence in this, and she uses violence a lot throughout this entire
Was it a violent relationship?
album, not relationship.
I'm guessing it's just kind of like what it felt like for her, especially near the end. I remember her Twitter for a while was like, "Can you hear the violence?" That was her bio. She mentions it a couple times on this album. I mean, this album does sound.
Is that like a Lana Del Rey lyric?
It is ultra violence.
But yeah, she definitely feels a bit resolved here. Now, of course, everything is fine, but then I mean, we lead into the last track where she finds some kind of happiness, and that's in Perfect Places.
A release.
Should I play it?
Yeah. This could have been the hit too.
Yeah.
This song should have been a single.
That line hit different when you were 19. It did.
It did.
Probably would
I'm
have.
so old now.
This is how we get notorious. Every night I live and die. Meet somebody, take 'em home. All the nights spent off our
Her voice.
faces.
Her
She's a
voice.
beautiful voice. So unique.
It feels like cynical, but like a bop.
Yeah. That song just encapsulates youth. Period.
Yeah.
It feels healthy after what we just kind of went through. Even though she's not completely perfect right now, it feels healthier than what the shit just went down.
Leaving
Yeah.
it off on like somewhat of an optimistic view.
That one feels like it would be a radio hit. I don't know. Like that one.
I think it
Video
was in
hit.
other countries.
Yeah, maybe in New Zealand.
I heard so many sounds on it for the first time off this album. I've spent so much time with it, and I just connect things and certain like feelings that like I didn't get through music or any kind of art form before through this album specifically. I thought the instrumentals and everything were so expressive and really kind of could encapsulate emotion in them. I feel like it has some great highs and some really good lows, and the flow of the album is really good. At the same time, it's the kind of thing you can pop into any track and still get like something out of. You don't have to listen to it in order. There's a reason why I think this album is amazing, phenomenal, and why I kind of put a bit of my personality, I take a bit of it and put it into my personality.
What would you rank this album? Like rate it?
Rate it? I think I would rate it a good, I think it's 9 out of 10 for me, which is really high because like 5 is average. 9 out of 10 is near perfect. There's not a lot of 10 out of 10 albums for me.
What's a 10 out of 10 album for you?
MIA's first album, A Ruler.
Wow.
2004.
Interesting.
2005, yeah.
This album came out when I was like, obviously, well, when I was 17, and I just feel like every Lorde album that I listen to when it comes out is, I mean, this is me being like, I don't know, all in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going through like the same things. Like I literally experienced exactly what she's experiencing. I feel like 100% I've completely grown with her, and like you can just see how much she matures. And I would say personally that I was pretty mature at a young age, so I feel like I can relate a lot to some of the things she's saying. But also it's like, I don't know, like pure Heroine's youth, and this is her like going out into the world and like figuring out like what she wants to, I don't know, like who she wants to be. And it's like her adolescence is gone, and she's like young, like an adult, and it's like, I don't know, it's beautiful.
This is my first time sitting through and listening to the whole album, and this song's like supercut. I would only listen like out of context. Every single song I would only listen to out of context, but after sitting and listening to the whole album, it is kind of like a concept album. And I think that like you have to, and I think a lot of albums like deserve the sit through and listen for like the entire thing, because it really like it changes the meanings of songs. Like Supercut, I didn't really know what that was about until like now I hear it in context. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it is important to do that, but also like this is a great album. Like, I don't know what I would rate it yet because I'm a little...
Gotta let it sit with you.
I'm a little new. Yeah. gotta let it simmer.
It's an album that can mean a lot to people because it is kind of like an awakening, or it sounds like an awakening for a lot of people into all these like different emotions, and there's a reason why it's connected to people and why it's kind of stood the test of time this long. I don't really hear anything that could like age over time with this album.
I feel like this album could have been released like last year and I wouldn't have blinked. Like, it is pretty, sounds pretty current.
I think this was like a critical stepping stone in her musical career, and she definitely needed this to go on to Solar Power.
It's evolution.
It's just her growth. This is like, I don't know, I go through like switching back and forth from like Pure Heroine's my favorite album to like this. It depends on what's going on in my life, but it's timeless.
It's a bit of a banger. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay, let's go.